Good morning to you wherever you are viewing and listening to our live broadcast of the National Independence Parade, the annual Military Independence Parade taking place at the Victoria Park this year once more. We welcome you across the various platforms. We have those who are viewing by way of VC3 Television, the Agency for Public Information Facebook page, and the Facebook page of the National Broadcasting Corporation. We expect to have the folks on radio joining us a little later on, closer to 8 o'clock, but we welcome you wherever you are, at home or abroad, and we're glad that you're able to join us this morning for our live coverage. Beautiful morning it is, very cool, lots of clouds, and it looks as though it's going to be a great day for a parade. The sun is peeking out every now and then, and we're off to start where we'll soon see the troops heading down to the Victoria Park. We just saw shots of them momentarily of the preparations being made for the movement. And I believe in a minute or two, we should see some movements on the road of the troops heading down to the Victoria Park. Joining me on the broadcast this morning, we are originating from the studios of VC3 Television and broadcasting across all the platforms, is Major Idalia Ferdinand from the Cadet Force, Rsvg Cadet Force. Welcome, Idalia.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Good morning to those who are viewing. And a happy 43rd Independence Anniversary to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And of course, we welcome retired Superintendent of Police Elton Jackson, who is joining us once more this year. I think we had him a few years ago in one of our parades, and he's been a constant face on VC3 with their coverage as well. But this year, we're pooling all our resources in bringing you one single feed across the various platforms. Of course, we expect to have the visuals from on the street in a bit from now, and later on the events will move to the Victoria Park, where the parade itself will take place. Lots and lots of preparations go into something of this nature, and I'll start off with a bit of a background as to how you get ready for an event like this, a military parade. What are some of the things that you have to put in place over the course of weeks or months to make sure that this day is executed quite perfectly?
Yes, good morning, everyone. As I stated, I'm former Superintendent of Police, Elton Jackson, and I'm pleased to be here, bringing live coverage once again from Victoria Park, where we have our 43rd anniversary of independence. Right. In preparation for this type of parade, it's basically drills, where the person who's in charge of the parade is selected, and he will make the necessary preparation in terms of getting the troops together. It's a military parade, so of course the police force will play a pivotal role in coordinating the efforts. The Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Cadet Force is also a major part of the military parade, followed by other services in terms of the Scouts, the Girls Guides, the Boys Brigade, and this year we also having the nurses on the parade. So it will take the form of rehearsals right here at the Victoria Park, as we will know, where basically you get the troops together, making sure that the execution of the movements are sharp enough so they can create the necessary display on the actual parade.
Yes, indeed, and quite a lot of preparations involved in this. And for those who are viewing, you're getting a live shot now of the troops on their way to the Victoria Park. As a matter of fact, just outside of the St. George's Cathedral in Kingstown, and moving quickly. I think they're moving in quick time, and heading quickly towards the Victoria Park, where preparations will begin for the ceremonial aspect, which is expected to begin at about 10 minutes to 8, because we'll have the arrival of the Commissioner of Police at that time. 5 minutes to 8, we'll have the arrival of the Honorable Prime Minister, and 8 o'clock, the arrival of Her Excellency, the Governor General. At that time, we get started with the prayer and the inspection and all of the colors that you would expect on parade here at Victoria Park. But as you notice, the sun is out now and it's illuminating the troops as they head quickly towards the Victoria Park. The front of the parade is just passing by in front of the Public Health Department building, and they'll be turning that corner shortly and heading into the Victoria Park. We should be hearing them outside our studios in just a bit, as the drums are quite evident.
Yes.
You hear the drums.
Yes.
You would realize there are also a lot of preparation in terms of the uniforms.
Indeed.
To get them really looking outstanding, as you can see the blend of colors as the troop march on the way to the park.
And I believe that they're marching to local music. They started off with Siabonka by Rsvgpf, followed by Baila Sanka, I believe, right?
Two classics.
By Exodus, right?
And it's always good to hear the police band and the cadet band coming together and bringing such beautiful melody. And today, no different. It's a joint band. When they get to the park, they merge together on the parade, on the road. Actually, it's two separate bands.
Right.
But it's always good to see them coming together and sounding just as good as when they're performing separately. And it takes a lot of practice to do that.
It does take a lot of
practice. It takes a lot of
practice,
practice to do that.
And it's not our language, music. And I'm glad to see that the younger persons are taking and carrying on, and the band keep replenishing great musicians after great musicians, and that is actually the way to go.
Right. So these are your troops.
Yes.
Major Ferdinand, and they're looking quite sharp
You
this
see
morning.
the cadets looking extra special. We always love a ceremonial parade so we can integrate our red into the green. And you will see the band looking very outstanding today in terms of their accessories.
Yes, and no doubt preparations. We mentioned the preparations on the police end, but for the cadets, it's quite similar. And this morning you had, I believe, some of your cadets in Kingstown were 5 o'clock, after 5 o'clock, making sure that their boots are well shined and their outfits are crisp and ready to go for this morning. And it's highly anticipated, I believe, in the cadets as well. I remember observing some of the cadets preparing the parade.
I mean, most of the time persons hardly sleep. They, even if we do a little camp over normally before the parade, and to ensure that the uniforms are properly prepared, and those who live far, that they can get here on time. And, persons are very excited, especially the youngsters who will be there for the first time.
So there we go, the entrance of the parade to the Victoria Park, and just outside of the studios of VC3 Television, and they're approaching their markers. I believe the field is prepared in a particular manner to be a guide to them, is that correct?
Yes, the field has to be marked.
Yes.
In any military parade.
And see now the armed guards, there are actually 7 armed guards and 7 unarmed guards on parade here this morning. And the sun has pretty much made its presence felt right at this moment. So you're seeing the shadows as the troops march in, and you're now hearing the band just outside of our door. So we know for sure that they are here. And we're now seeing this is the Special Services Unit.
Right.
Yes,
I think that's the first time they're wearing that uniform.
Very, very first time I seen them in this uniform. I stand to be corrected, but I believe I'm right.
On an independence parade, at least, yes.
Parade, yes.
And you see the band.
But it's still the military section of the Royal St. Vincent Grenadines Police Force, so that is expected. From time to time, you'll have the innovation, even in terms of the uniform.
Indeed.
And that's the Coast Guard, and they're all white.
And just behind,
The auxiliary police, yes.
And
Followed by the cadet.
yes.
Cadet number 6.
Number 6.
Guard, and then
Yeah,
the number
6.
7 guard.
So 6 and 7 on parade here this morning. And the distinct red beret is evident as they come towards the camera. You can't really mistake them, can you?
Cannot.
That alone gives away who they are. But it's good to see the youngsters here this morning We're hoping for more of a cloud cover to give them a relief from the heat from the sun.
Right.
But being that we do still have the clouds, I mean, it should be from time to time they get some relief.
We are hoping that we do not have casualties.
We hope not.
Yes, but one thing we can say that they are really motivated, even though someone dropped out of the parade, the actual parade, by standing at attention. After the parade, they will take the arms up and they will make sure that they march.
Unarmed guards are now entering the park.
And I believe that's the prison service and His Majesty's prison.
His Majesty's prison.
To get used to that
Yes.
new reference,
That's
His
all.
Majesty's prison. Just passing by our camera position there.
Followed by the Girls Guide.
And as usual, looking quite precise in their presentation, the Girl Guides. And everyone, as you realize, has their particular placement on the field, and now I understand the marking of the field and what that means.
Right.
And as you see a bird's eye view, I like to say, of what is happening on the parade ground, and you see the formation. It's interesting to look at it from this angle. I don't think I've ever seen a shot from this particular angle. I've seen from above, but not from this angle before. And you can see where they're placed and the reasoning behind the placements there.
Right. The formation that we have on the parade is really a hollow square formation. If you notice, and that is because of the number of guards that you have.
Yes.
Every troop cannot give a frontal view. So we have a hollow square formation where
The number 1 and the number 7 guards.
they are looking inwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we hear the band coming up at the rear, so that's the cadet band that came in after. So the police band led the parade into the park, and the cadet band formed the rear, and they'll merge shortly.
Yes.
I think we tend to see that just in a few minutes from now. We should see the merging of those two bands to one single band that will take the parade through this morning.
Right, and we see the trooping of the bands will be done by both, by the combined police and cadet force band.
So they will actually merge once the officers the commanding officers are in front of their guards, because the cadet band is the one that usually plays the music as the officers move towards their guards.
And this morning's parade is being commanded by Superintendent Benzel Samuel. I was told this is his first duty as commander. He's been adjutant before, but this is his first task as parade commander.
And just to say that he's not really new to parade. He's accustomed being here over the years, acting in one capacity or the other. And he's at the top this time, commanding the troops.
And we've heard the band come to a stop, and the troops are all lined up in their positions. We can see them. I believe they're at ease now.
Yes, they're still at attention, and they're going to do their formation in the 2 ranks.
So as they take care of those duties, the park is slowly filling up, and I expect, of course, to see a larger number of persons coming into the park this year to observe firsthand what's happening. It's been a while since we were able to have a sort of event like this with the COVID-19 pandemic, the eruptions last year, and it comes to show our resilience as a people that, you know, 1 year after those eruptions at Rsvgpf, we can, you know, present such a thing that's become part of who we are. The annual Independence Military Parade. And just outside, we're hearing the commands of one of the troops there.
Yes, what is happening is that they're dressing the parade. The markers for the guards, they're dressing the parade and making preparation for the inspection, where they are opening orders so that the Governor General and the inspection party can pass through with adequate space.
So the guard commanders are now preparing to move to their guards. So they've taken their place at the front, and they will be given the instructions to stand in front of their guards, and then they will slow march to their various guards.
So we welcome you wherever you are across the various platforms. We, of course, say welcome to those viewing by way of social media. We, of course, on social media, first of all, this morning. We'll be joined by radio just before 8 o'clock this morning. And we welcome you if it is that you're joining us by way of the social media page of VC3 Television, the National Broadcasting Corporation, the Agency for Public Information. This is a joint production this year, and we say hello to you and welcome on board. We look forward to an incident-free parade today. Hopefully we wouldn't have anyone, succumb into the heat.
Yes.
I believe we are now getting ready to have. Right, so we're seeing the commands being given. Tell us what's happening here, Jackson.
Right, with the drum roll, you have the guard commanders coming to attention, making preparation to march towards their guard to take up their position. Because they are the guard commanders and subalterns, so they are going to take up their position in front of the guards. So this is what we are seeing there now.
So they're marching forward 14 places.
They have now stand at ease.
And as they get ready to take up their positions, the bandmaster for this morning, Inspector Vaughn Miller, and he's in charge of making sure that the band sounds excellent. And I'm sure that he will ensure that his troop and his band sounds precise this morning in their delivery. The drum major is Corporal Costello Adams, as we have another view of the troops just outside of VC3 Television. And we are also looking at a wider shot of the parade ground. You mentioned the nurses are on parade this morning, and we see them in the back there.
Well, we have to also mention the Cadet Force Band. Right, it's under the command of Lieutenant Brian Maloney, and then the drum major is Warrant Officer 2 Osborne Williams. That's for the Cadet Force Band.
So, as we get ready to see what these officers have been planning for the longest while, we see them execute that. We've seen a number of their practice sessions on the streets of Kingston. I'm sure there have been other points where they've been preparing the band. I remember hearing the band preparing last week in terms of doing one of their numbers and making sure all of the instruments are sung in proper. And today, they'll have the opportunity to share with the wider Vincentian audience what they've been preparing for. And I was promised by senior police officer that we're going to have some excellent music today.
Yes.
And some local
music.
Yes,
Local music.
I think the police band has something very special in store. We'll see.
Yes. So we just have to be, don't move away from your television. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes on the screen. And I am sure that you will be pleased with what is in store for you today.
And in terms of the weather, that promises to be for this morning. We update from the Met Office this morning says it was going to be partly cloudy, hazy, and breezy at times, with occasional scattered showers. So I'm sure the clouds will certainly assist.
So the cadet band now is about to merge with the police band just before the officers go to their various guards. And if you notice, the cadet band is adorned in breastplate and all the different accessories. It's the first time they're wearing the breastplate and the wings on their shoulders. And they're also wearing plumes in their berets. So they're well decked out, and the youngsters are very excited.
I can imagine.
It's quite a difference in appearance. What What is the significance of the changes that we're seeing this morning?
Well, it's about enhancing the band. If you look at many other bands, you will notice that they have different adornments. And so we are trying to bring our band in line with the standard of dress of other bands. And, just to say that some of the accessories they're wearing are contribution from persons who would have been in the band before. So we are very grateful for the impact we've made on those ex-cadets that they are now able to give back to the cadet band in such a way.
So the merger is complete of the two bands. We're now seeing one formation consisting of the police and the cadets,
Yes.
and their usual position just outside of the CDC's office, where we'll see most of the performances before they move around the ground a little later on during the parade.
Right. Looking forward, we will get the trooping of the band, so in slow and in quick time.
And
They will move from east to west and from west to east.
so we expect shortly to see the arrival of the
So now the parade is being handed over to the parade commander
Commander.
by the parade adjutant, who is Coast Guard Officer Lieutenant William Tibbers. And this is his first time as the parade adjutant, but of course he has been on parade before as part of the Coast Guard unit.
And this morning, Superintendent Samuel taking on his first commanding duty as parade commander. And we've seen him before. I know we've seen him before in other
Yes.
capacities. He's no stranger to parades. And as we get a closer shot of him, you'll know that his face is quite familiar,
Very familiar.
as an officer.
Very familiar.
And he has the task this morning of commanding all of the troops, all 14 of them, 7 armed, 7 unarmed,
Yes.
this morning.
Superintendent Bentil Samuel, very experienced. He is a military person, very well trained in military tactics. He was at SSU for a very, very long time. Also, he is a trainer, military trainer. So he's not new to anything military. And this is just, I believe he's just taking, commanding the parade, the military parade in stride.
So now the officers are slow marching towards their guards, both the guard commander and the 2IC.
As we hear the joint band now rendering a selection, and a gentle breeze blowing across the parade ground, and that is always a relief whenever you have a breeze across the parade ground. Standing there provides such a soothing relief to the heat.
Definitely. And
You've experienced that,
yes.
Major.
This is the spectacle you want to see, what I'm seeing here now, right? The guards, troops, you can see very splendid on parade. Really, it's a very good atmosphere down here, and those of you who are viewing, if you have the opportunity to come down, it will even be better. But if you can't come out and you want to view, we are here to facilitate that.
Indeed, and if you're just joining us, we welcome you on board as we move closer to 8 o'clock. It's 10 minutes before 8 at this point in time, and according to our program, any moment now we should have the arrival of the Commissioner of Police, immediately followed by the Honorable Prime Minister, and then the arrival of Her Excellency the Governor General, Dame Susan Duggan. And as the Governor General arrives, we'll get the official ceremonial aspect of the proceedings started.
Yes.
A number of items on the agenda outside of the display, because the display I know is what a lot of people will look forward to. The inspection, of course, will take place, the troop salute to the nation and display, the march past, the address by the Honorable Prime Minister, To round up the events, we'll have the final salute, and then Her Excellency the Governor General departs, then the Prime
And
Minister departs.
let's not miss the entrance of the colors onto the parade. They do not march down with the parade. They join the parade at the park, and so the colors are now being ushered onto the parade, and it consists of the national flag and the cadet force colors. And the team this morning is led by Lieutenant Alton McPherson, Ensign, Acting Second Lieutenant Lancelot Charles, also Ensign, and then we have the conducting warrant, Shamar Charles, and the escorts, 3 escorts, Staff Sergeant Elrando Lewis, Staff Sergeant Nicolette Cyrus, and Acting Staff Sergeant Giovanni Shallow. So that is the color party, which are all members of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Cadet Force.
And it is a proud moment for you, I would imagine.
Definitely.
You expected to be out there this morning with them, but you're in here with us, and we're grateful that you're joining us in studio. But you're here. That's what's important. Your presence is quite important to your team.
I must say, though, for military and quasi-military organizations, color drill is a very, very, very important part.
It is.
And I think that's the arrival of the Commissioner of Police, correct?
Yes.
The Commissioner of Police has just arrived here at the parade ground at Victoria Park, and momentarily he will make his way down on the tent close to the saluting days, and then to the saluting days. Yes. I believe he'll go to the saluting days.
He will go to the saluting days. And everybody will be coming to attention, the parade will be coming to attention, and there will be a drum roll by the police force band.
So we are
the drum section, actually.
So we see the commissioner making his way down to the saluting days, and he'll be closely followed by the Honorable Prime Minister, who is possibly close by now.
Yes.
Getting here just about 4 minutes time. We expect him to arrive here at the Victoria Park, and they must comment that the park is beautifully painted and decorated in the national colors today, and quite a show of patriotism with the color coordination of the park. And we hear that drum as we promised. And we, of course, allow you to take in a bit of the commands and the drums, etc., from the parade ground as much as possible. A wide view now of the parade ground, and you see the formations. From this angle, you're not able to see much of the demarcations. It's there for a closer view. You would see where the troops are supposed to be standing.
Yeah, so you have to guide the troops.
And of course, good to see the young and the old present here at the Victoria Park. It's become a tradition for the most part, and those who are not able to be here look at it on television. Many of them in the last few years have been able to view this in the diaspora. Before, it wasn't really possible to do so. You had to be looking at it on local television or here physically. But now we have thousands who are able to consume what we're broadcasting live here from the Victoria Park online, and we welcome each and every one of you who are joining across the platforms on social media, on Facebook, the Facebook pages of VC3 Television, the National Broadcasting Corporation, and the Agency for Public Information. Of course, this is a joint production this year, and we look forward to having you with us during the course of the broadcast, which we expect to follow in the next, well, it's hard to say how long, because from time to time it may be shorter, but at least we see many Vincentians already here, decked out in their national colors, Some of them are wearing white shirts with the colors of the flag and different designs. I've seen quite a lot of that this year.
Yes, and you know it's very exciting this year, I believe, because last year we did not have a parade, and I know that many persons do look forward to the parade, especially for those who have their relatives and friends on the parade as part of the troops, and definitely when you are on the parade, you look forward to seeing and hearing those persons who are in the park encouraging you. And as a matter of fact, when I was on parade myself, I would have tried to look in the crowd to find persons that I know as a way of trying to relax
Yes.
on the parade. So persons are having persons in the park is very encouraging to those who are on the parade.
Right, and we can hear the siren. This tells us that the Prime Minister is close by. Right, so the arrival of the Prime Minister is very much evident.
And the Prime Minister will do likewise. He would receive his salute, and he comes up to the salute and dace as well.
And the police band will play a fanfare.
Fanfare. So we see the arrival now of the Honourable Prime Minister, who is greeted by the Commissioner of Police, who arrived just a minute or two before, and accompanied by the Commissioner. He will make his way down to the salute and dace. Of course, greeting the Vincentians who are lined along the parameters of the parade ground, and
Thank you.
taking that journey to the salute and dace. Of course, this morning there are also those who are joining us by way of radio. I suspect radio may have joined us or will join us shortly. The National Broadcasting Corporation, and we're also joined by Nice Radio this morning for this broadcast. We see now the Honourable Prime Minister on the saluting dace.
Right, so the parade commander has called the parade to attention, and the Prime Minister was given a general salute, and the fanfare is being played by the police force band. Well, the combined band.
And I hope that our viewers and listeners are able to hear the commands, because it's important that you hear, those aspects of what is happening on the ground as the parade commander gives his instructions to the troops. And the view from this angle shows the red carpet laid down for the arrival, and a shot now of the combined band.
Just beautiful.
And those what do you refer to them as?
It's breastplates.
Breastplates.
Yes.
Looking quite quite outstanding, I must say, in between the whites there. Certainly identifying the cadets in this case. But we mentioned earlier, coming together, the cadets and the police play such beautiful music, and it's become a fixture that those who are viewing and those who are here physically look forward to hear the band play, and to taking the precision of the band and the renditions. In a minute or two from now, we expect the arrival of Her Excellency the Governor General, and this will signal the commencement of the ceremonial aspect here at the Victoria Park. And I think I can hear in the distance the outrider coming close to the Victoria Park. Shortly we'll see
the arrival of the Governor General, Dame Susan Duggan, Her Excellency.
And right on cue, Her Excellency arriving at the Victoria Park, signaling the commencement officially of the ceremonial aspect of the proceedings, being greeted by the Honourable Prime Minister and the Commissioner of Police. Of course, Her Excellency is assisted by the ADC.
Yes, was Major Philip
Major.
Cambridge.
Yes. You're used to hearing Captain Philip
Yes,
Cambridge, but he's now
he has
Major.
been promoted, yes.
So Her Excellency making her way down to the saluting dais, accompanied by the ADC, the Honorable Prime Minister.
And the Commissioner of Police.
And I've seen the numbers in the park increase quite considerably in the last few minutes. I'm not sure if you
Yes.
noted it, but our last wide shot of the park showed that there were quite a number of new arrivals.
Yes, so the stands are filling up very quickly.
The fanfare,
Right, the royal salute is being given. The national anthem will follow.
and we hear the commands being given there as we complete the first aspect of the ceremonial commencement of the proceedings here at the Victoria Park, the national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And as we noted, the nurses in the back row there alongside the pathfinders.
So what is happening here now is that the parade commander is reporting to Her Excellency and asking her permission, inviting her, to inspect the parade.
So Her Excellency now moves towards the troops, accompanied
Yes.
by the parade commander.
Commissioner of Police.
And the aide-de-camp.
Of course, this is just the first part of the official ceremonial aspect. And Your Excellency will start on the eastern end, I believe,
She will start with the number one guard,
Number one guard.
which is
in
the
order of the
all-male
number.
police officers.
So number one guard, all male. Are these the armed guards?
Yes.
The armed guards.
And of course, looking quite smartly dressed this morning. No doubt the preparations involved would lead to such an appearance. Quite a lot of preparation for today.
The number one guard is under the command of Assistant Superintendent Parnell Brown and the 2IC's Inspector Junior Nero. There's also an all-female police guard under the command of Assistant Superintendent Juliana Charles and the 2IC's Acting Inspector Marlon Coffey.
We have coming up guard number 3, Special Services Unit, under the command of Assistant Superintendent Foster Scott, the Subaltern Acting Inspector Maxian Richardson. We're approaching guard number 4, the Coast Guard, the Guard Commander Lieutenant Vinton John, and the Subaltern Sub-Lieutenant Donald Harry. Guard number 5, I believe they're just getting ready to approach guard number 5, yes?
Yes, they've passed the color party.
Yes, guard number 5 is under the command of Acting Lieutenant Ruben Johnson. And subaltern is Acting Second Lieutenant Theophilus Franklin.
Guard number 6, Major.
Acting under the command, it's the Cadet Force Mixed Guard under the command of Acting Second Lieutenant Javed Solin, and the 2IC is Acting Second Lieutenant Jomari John, and now they are inspecting the Marine Unit, another unit of the SVG Cadet Force, Guard number 7, under the command of Acting Second Lieutenant Alex Davis, and the 2IC is Acting Second Lieutenant Jade Cato.
And the Marine Unit, and I think that's the most recent addition to the cadets.
Yes,
What makes this different from the regular cadets?
Well, they generally do marine training. They work along with the Coast Guard, and they do sea training mainly. That's their focus.
So while we are focusing on the armed guards, we also have to take into consideration that we have the unarmed guards on the parade. We have the boys brigade, we have the girls brigade, we have the girls guide, the scouts, we have nurses, we have personnel from His Majesty's prison, and the pathfinders.
It takes some getting used to it. You're accustomed to say Her Majesty's prisons, but that has since changed with King Charles now taking up the throne. So it's His Majesty's prisons, and the Pathfinders, as mentioned, the final guard, unarmed, of course. These 7 unarmed guards. Boys Brigade, Girls Guides, Scouts, the nurses, His Majesty's prisoners, and pathfinders. So 7 armed guards, 7 unarmed guards. Again, we welcome those joining by way of radio on the National Broadcasting Corporation, wherever you are. If you're listening online at nbcsvg.com, we welcome you as well. Those who are viewing across the platforms of VC3 Television, the Agency for Public Information, and the National Broadcasting Corporation. Also those joining us via the other local media entities taking our broadcasts. Recognize Nice Radio joining in on the broadcast this morning. And those, of course, in the diaspora relaying our broadcast, we say welcome to you as well, and we're glad that you're able to join us. So, Excellency, now wrapping up, I believe this is the final aspect of inspection with the pathfinders.
And then she will go on to inspect the combined band.
After the
Yes,
nurses,
that's the
I believe.
last group that will be inspected.
She may have a few words of encouragement for the bandmaster.
Of course, the encouragement also always helps.
It does.
Always helps in bringing out the melody that they'd want to get this morning. And I believe we'll be able to hear a lot of what the band is playing this morning, beautiful music, and we'll ensure that we allow you to have a taste of that as well.
Yes.
I think what is being played now is Perseverance by the late Razam Shallow.
I'm sure.
Always good to hear that on a live band. And the combined bands of the police and the cadets doing justice to that wonderful song by Jared Razam Shallow. So Her Excellency will now move to the area of the band.
Yes.
Yes. And now we are hearing the music of Winston Soso, another of our great who have gone to the beyond. Put your hands in the air and dance. Good.
I think that's the one that I heard them rehearsing just over a week ago. It was just a small portion of the band, but the forces are combined this morning to create even better sound. The bandmaster this morning, Inspector Vaughn Miller, and drum major, Corporal Corsella Adams. What's the role of the drum major in terms of providing support to the bandmaster? Is this another senior member of the band? And of course, we see the Commissioner of Police, the ADC, Her Excellency, and the bandmaster is now, no, is it the parade commander? Is moving
Yes.
forward, yes. The bandmaster is still in his position,
Yes.
so let's not mix them up. And for those who missed it, the parade commander is Superintendent Benzel Samuel. We enjoy a bit of the band music. All right, so that was relatively short, but I'm sure we'll hear a lot more from the band going forward.
Well, the troop is coming up, so you'll hear quite a lot more from them shortly.
So we'll have the trooping of the band in slow and in quick time to the music of Dr. Alston Beckett Cyrus. You have Soca Raka Cabaret. And we will also hear in quick time Bad Demon by Fireman Hooper.
Well, that's the interesting one. I think that was the one that was promised it would be different this year by the senior police officer.
And these music for military purpose are arranged by Sergeant Smart, the police force band.
I think they're now preparing for the prayer.
Lord be with you. Praise the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty God, who has given us this good land, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we thank you for those who have given outstanding service to this nation and have left for us a goodly heritage. We humbly pray that we may be a people who are always mindful of your favor and glad to do your will. Bless our land with honorable industry, sound learning, good manners, and compassionate hearts. Save us from violence, discord, confusion, pride, and arrogance, injustice, and greed. Save us from substituting human life and activity with new technologies and from every evil way. In the time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness. And in time of trouble, may we never lose our trust in you. Make us ever conscious of our heritage, the less fortunate and those who come after us. Grant us the grace to acknowledge our failures, weaknesses, unrighteous deeds, and sin, and to seek pardon, forgiveness, and correction. We ask this through Jesus Christ, our Lord. O Lord, our Governor, whose glory it is in all the world, as we celebrate our 43rd anniversary of independence, we commend this nation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to your merciful care and protection. That being guided by your providence, we may experience your peace. Grant to Susan, our Governor General, Ralph, our Prime Minister, Gordon, our Opposition Leader, members of Parliament, the judiciary, and all in public trust and authority, wisdom and strength to know and do your will. Fill them with the love of truth and righteousness, and make them ever mindful of their calling to be servants of your people, that we may be a nation wholly dedicated to you, and evermore sing your praises here and in your kingdom, through Jesus Christ our Lord. And as our Savior Christ has taught us, we are bold to say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Thank you.
So we just had there the prayer for the nation by Bishop of the Diocese of the Windward Islands, the Right Reverend C. Leopold Friday, as we once again welcome those who are joining by way of radio to the annual Independence Military Parade at the Victoria Park. And we do hope that, I think we've seen the slow march now. Slow march.
So the band will now return in quick time.
So we look forward to the quick time. Let's hear what they have on offer for the quick time.
And they're marching now to the music of Fireman Hooper, Band Demon.
So let's take in some of this one while we look at the images on our screens for those viewing. You hear now the cheers going up as the appreciation for the bit of a performance we had there from the police band.
We will get more.
So that's the call. That's the call. And what most folks look forward to.
Getting some good movements there by John Major. Yes. Police can move, yes.
Yes, of course.
She's really having a ball enjoying herself.
And certainly the enjoyment is evident here at Victoria Park. Some sweet music and of course some very interesting displays by the police band here this morning. All part and parcel of the parade, the 43rd Independence Anniversary of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and today being celebrated as per usual, in fine style. We see the children decked out in their national
Yes.
colors, always a lovely sight to see.
Very beautiful indeed.
Yes.
And of course, so the little ones are sheltered from the sun because, of course, they'll be taking part in the Uptown Parade a little later on. But for now, they are viewing from a distance and just below the CDC's office.
Right. What is happening here, though, is that the police force band and the cadets force band combined, they are positioning themselves in a position so that the march pass will take place.
So we would shortly see the march pass, another element where you would hear the cheers go up as the troops pass by the front of where the audience is sitting. You will hear, the cheers go up, and as the salutes are taken as well, you would know when some of the favorites are passing by, and you know what I'm speaking of. Jackson, you will hear when a particular group, the cadets
Yes.
pass by, for instance, you'll hear the parents in front cheering on. Major can attest to that.
And that's very encouraging.
Very encouraging for the youngsters.
Yes.
Because they are going to be the parade commanders of tomorrow.
Indeed.
Yes, you have to encourage them.
I think here the number one guard is also going to be doing some sort of display.
Of course, we are going to have a display by the number one guard, and something is telling me that they have recently passed out from the training school, maybe most of them. So they are fresh when it comes to the drill movements.
Very, very
Yes,
smart.
they're
They're
supposed to
looking
be
very sharp, yes.
So they have used the opportunity to do a display, I believe. And it's always good to have that entertainment package, even though it's a military parade.
Indeed. And it's another portion of the parade that is highly anticipated, the displays.
Yes.
Because that is when you get to see, something out of the ordinary when it comes to the formalities of being a police officer. Yes, they are in uniform, but you get to see the formations and okay, we're going to have a view of this from above. I believe they're going to be making some sort of, we're not told what it is, we're told to wait.
Right.
Yes.
Wait and see what it's
No,
going to be like.
I know that they are the recovered position. They have recovered arms. And they are doing it in precision style.
So any moment now, we'll see that formation taking shape. And we have a view from above for the benefit of those who are viewing. Those who are viewing, of course, have the opportunity of seeing what it looks like from above. And we await further the presentation by guard number 1.
Yes.
So they have recovered arms, and now they are coming back to the shoulder, precision style. Now they are marking time, and they're moving in different directions.
All right, so we're going to have a view of the formation as it happens from above. And you hear the band providing some support in terms of the musical accompaniment.
Right, so they have broken into slow time. They're doing some marching in slow time, creating some formations. Can't see what it is, but we notice it's looking good from above.
Yes, what we can see is that they're in groups of 4.
Yes, and they have recovered arms now, while they make the movements, the foot movements also. So they have recovered arms, and they are marching.
And standing in the center, I believe, is the guard commander. Assistant Superintendent Panel Brown, or the subaltern, I'm not
Or the
sure.
subaltern.
Subaltern.
I'm not able to see their face, at least not from this
Right.
angle. Okay, I think they're coming back together now, and they're making a formation, what looks to be, I'm wondering if it's a 4. But we wait for it. We have some patience. And of course, we take this opportunity to welcome everyone across the platforms, those who are viewing on channel 114, live via VC3 television.
Right, so from this slow time and the marking time, they have moved into quick time. And we can see they're spiraling out of that formation and back into files.
And you can see the precision from this
Yes,
angle.
Yes.
Wow.
So they're now marching in files.
And the whites are clearly evident from at
Yes.
least from this angle, giving you an idea where the shadows complementing the
Yes.
shape that they're taking.
They certainly look very smart with their display.
Yes. So we have seen a variety of rifle movements. We have seen the recovered arms, the shoulder arms, and now they are ordering the arms.
And I think this display is more for those who are viewing from the front.
Yes.
And not what we were anticipating, something forming from above.
Right.
So yes, that is exactly what we're seeing now. The display, best viewed from the front.
Yes.
They are doing a series of different drill movements.
And now we're getting some foot movements after the rifle movement. They are standing at ease.
And you hear the applause going up from those who are gathered to view the parade this morning. Not quite finished.
No.
More to come.
Right, so what they have done there, they have changed arms at the shoulder. Right, they have trailed
Trail
arms.
yes.
Yes, and change arms at the trail. Yes, back to the shoulder. Recover arms. Back to the shoulder.
Present arms.
Present arms. Yes,
Yes.
back to the standard ease.
And I think what they were actually doing earlier, and I see our viewers are well in tune with what's happening. Someone says it looked like a diamond that they formed earlier, and that is, I
Yes.
believe that is what happened there.
That's the
diamond
representative of
formation.
the flag.
Yes.
I believe.
The diamond formation to
Yes.
represent
Okay.
the diamonds of the flag. So, yes, good eye to the commenter who raised that. And of course, we had a view from above, and the rest of the presentation more
Right.
for those viewing from the front.
Even the marching back to their respective position is also done in a display fashion.
With precision, I must add.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And a moment ago, when we had the visuals from the air, you literally see their hands sinking as they in sync as they march along.
And this is good drills. We're getting good foot movements, and the arm is going there in line with the shoulder.
Parallel, yes.
Very sharp movement indeed. So we must say congratulations to the youngsters.
And we mentioned that guard number 1 consists primarily of those who are fresh out of training.
That is the impression I'm getting because
Yes.
of the sharpness of those posts.
Yes, and generally they will be very sharp.
Very
because
sharp, out of training.
They've been doing that.
They have no choice.
And they look like quite a young bunch, so
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And some of them would have been right on this very parade ground for the passing out parade,
Yes.
which we had about a few months ago, I think about 2 months ago. I see the band moving forward in the distance. I believe we're getting ready for the
march pass.
March pass.
Slow and in quick time.
That sounds like present arms.
Yes.
We can actually hear his commands from in the studios here.
Salute to the nation. So we have witnessed the salute to the nation, the 21-gun salute.
Done
Right.
quite a different fashion. Technology has certainly evolved as well over the years. And certainly a bit of a difference in the way it's executed this year, but there's always the officer there with the gun just in case,
Yes.
to fill the gaps.
This one was really done in quick time.
Quick time.
Yes.
Quick time. Technology again.
Quick time,
Changes
yes.
in methods. Achieving the same result, but done quite differently this year. See the beautiful mountain ranges in the background and an excellent view of the parade ground and the mountains in the back that make us so unique.
Yes. We're looking at the Gibson Corner area.
Yes, in the
Mount
distance
St.
there.
Andrews in the distance.
Very prominent Mount St. Andrew in the distance as well.
Very picturesque view.
Indeed. And something you wouldn't see if we were standing close to the parade ground. We wouldn't get these views. So we had an added advantage.
So now we have the march pass, first in slow time and quick time. And in slow time, it will only be the armed guards.
So the guards are marching in trees, and as they come across the saluting this, they will be making a left turn.
And at this time we recognized all the radio entities with us, the National Broadcasting Corporation, Nice Radio, and I understand Star Radio is also joining us as well for the radio end of our coverage. And the visuals on channel 114, DC3 television, and also across the pages of DC3 television. the National Broadcasting Corporation, and the Agency for Public Information, among the many others who may be relaying our broadcast which we are not aware of. But I can tell you that those entities are certainly with us and carrying this event live across the platforms. And the weather has thus far been beautiful for parade.
So as the troops pass the saluting days, the eyes right. As the officers pay compliments with their sword, so each guard will open order just before they get to the saluting days, and as they pass the saluting days, they will each salute to the Governor General and those who are taking the salute.
After which they will get back to close order.
Yes.
Command will be given by the commanding officer in charge of the guard.
And just to note, the dignitaries gathered under that tent where the saluting will take place as they pass by. The Honorable Prime Minister is there, so to Her Excellency the Governor General and the Commissioner of Police, I believe, is also there. We saw the arrival earlier, for those of you from the very start of things, when the Commissioner arrived, followed by the Prime Minister, then Her Excellency the Governor General.
So this is the number 3 guard, the SSU.
Band switching to God Bless Our Homeland, one of those songs that most of us are familiar with from school days.
Yes.
I'm not that of a senior, but I remember it quite well.
In the true spirit of independence, we have had all local music being played by the
Very
bands.
good.
Now we're able to get a better view of the colors as they pass in front of the saluting days, the national flag and the cadet force standard.
And I see the cadet standard and the flag carefully being moved around, not to touch on the parade ground, but
Yes.
a few inches off, and now being taken back up into position.
Yes,
Cadets are looking quite sharp this morning.
definitely. And some of these youngsters recently passed out, so it is their very first parade.
And you will see a difference between the type of drill that is displayed by the police in terms of the foot movement and that is being displayed by the cadets. The difference being that you will have a flowing foot movement with the police where they're gliding, but with the cadets you'll have a sharp movement, sharp foot movement. And that's the major difference. And it is taken from both school of thought.
Yes.
However, they are moving to the same drum beat, so the result is basically the same.
A switch now of the song by the band as the Marine unit of the cadet force passes by the saluting days. See Her Excellency is standing on the saluting days at this
Yes.
time. And quite a smooth transition there from a song that was very much a different tempo into another song.
Our Nation is Born
Yes.
by Vibrating Skates. We call this the Independence Anthem.
Sort of the independence anthem, that's what
Yes.
it's being known as now. And around this time you hear it, on the radio, you hear it in different presentations, you hear it live.
This is really a beautiful classic by Vibrating Skates.
And it's maybe an opportune time for us to take in a bit of the band rendering that song. Beautiful song as we celebrate our 43rd.
stop playing the music and they are going back to their original position.
So back to their original positions now, as we get ready for the next item on the agenda, which should be the address by the Honorable Prime Minister. And as we speak to you now, the arrangements have been put in place, the microphones being put in place, etc., to facilitate the address by the Honorable Prime Minister. So we await that. And the sun has since come out in all its glory, as we'll say, illuminating the entire parade ground and casting some shadows in the process. Of course, following the Prime Minister's presentation, we'll have the final salute as we wrap up the ceremonial aspect here at the Victoria Park. We're seeing the visuals now of some of the troops on parade.
They're advancing in review order, so they are marching forward 15 paces.
Getting closer to the salute in this.
So I think what we're doing now is preparing for the troops they'll be standing at ease during the Prime Minister's presentation. Don't think they've brought out the microphones just yet. And that's much closer to the actual presentation. You'll see the microphones being moved into place, etc. The troops are still taking their commands. Yeah. Quite a turnout here at the Victoria Park this morning. Some of the areas where the crowds are usually seated, we're not having a good visual of them. Of course, the decorations with the national colors also, blocking some of that view from our angle. But nevertheless, we do know that there are quite a number of Incentians who are gathered here this morning across all of those, a double-decker stand. On the other side, just next to the VC3 studios, that area is generally packed as well. Those looking to get an even closer view of the parade, looking towards the east. Yes.
What you find over the years is that many of the persons who come to the parade will not even come on the inside. They will stay for the march past to march up with the bands and to cheer the little ones on. So some persons will be on the outside waiting until the band ready, till the troops ready to march up for the uptown salute. But we have quite a great crowd indeed.
Your Excellency, the Governor General, members of Cabinet and of Parliament, their Lordships, the judges and other members of the judiciary, His Lordship, the Bishop of the Anglican Community, Your Excellencies, the members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior public servants and police officers, and nurses, other members of the public service, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and very much so those gathered here, especially the children and young persons, the distinguished members of the parade ground, headed by Superintendent Samuel, and the police band headed by Inspector Miller, Corporal Adams, I think that you did magnificently well today. I want the public to appreciate, as I do, the commitment and skill of all members on the parade ground and the members of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force who had to take time off from their duties in helping to keep us safe. They spent a lot of time practicing to get the precision, the coordination, and to put on such a splendid display today. We are very grateful to you and your leadership. Today is the day that the Lord has made. Let us be grateful, be joyful. Let us rejoice in it. Today, October the 27th, 2022, we commemorate and celebrate the 43rd anniversary of our country's reclamation of its independence. Across our lands and seas, despite our travails, our people rejoice and are grateful for our blessings. In our homes and our churches, we affirm individually, all my life you have been faithful. And all my life, you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing to the goodness of God. The theme for this year's anniversary focuses on our people's resilience and fortitude, which have been evident over the years, but especially so during the extraordinarily difficult period since March 2020 and continuing. Resilience means the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. It is a reflection of our admirable toughness. Fortitude refers to our people's courage in pain or adversity. It signifies our strength individually and collectively. On March the 11th, 2020, the dreaded and dangerous pandemic of COVID-19 descended upon us from outside. Although it has abated markedly in recent times, this public health challenge is still with us. So too its medical, social, educational, economic, and security consequences. In April 2021, the Rsvgpf volcano erupted cataclysmically numerous times, causing 1/5 of our population, or some 20,000 persons, to be evacuated from the red and orange zones and accommodated elsewhere, mainly in 87 public shelters for at least 6 months. Immense physical devastation, economic hardship and suffering thus resulted. On July the 2nd, 2021, Hurricane Elsa struck the northeast of St. Vincent, causing further damage. Later in 2021 and early 2022, there were alternating periods of drought and excessive rainfall, accompanied by dangerous, damaging landslides. On February the 24th, 2022, the military action by the Russian Federation against Ukraine exacerbated extraordinary turmoil in the global political economy, with harmful knock-on economic and social effects for the Caribbean and elsewhere, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Since then, the world's economy has been plunged into a terrible tailspin amidst the beckoning of a potential nuclear Armageddon. None of these calamities which has attended our way has been of our own making. They have all come upon us as the proverbial thieves in the night, without warning, but with a pain and suffering almost, but not quite beyond our endurance. These multiple blows were delivered against us in the context of the fragilities and vulnerabilities of a small island developing state, inclusive of the debilitating impacts of climate change and the harshness of a rampaging monopoly casino capitalism. Moreover, we have been laboring under the awful, enduring historical legacies of underdevelopment, arising from colonialism, native genocide, and the enslavement of African bodies. Thus, our legitimate and justiciable demand for reparations from the colonizer. Still, despite all our huge challenges, we have been surviving and thriving year by year, month by month, day by day, sweet Jesus. We have been doing so through our own efforts in concert with the practical solidarity of our regional and international partners, for which we are grateful, we are thankful. We have been pursuing with focus a path consistent with the internationally agreed 17 Sustainable Development Goals, at the core of which has been our quest to build a modern, competitive, many-sided post-colonial economy which is at once national, regional, and global. Each word in this formulation is pregnant with real meaning and import. From the deep valley of convulsions, dislocations, and even despair among many, over the past 2.5 years, our people's resilience, fortitude, and fresh hope, yes, fresh hope, have been summoned in aid of recovery, rebuilding, and more. As we climb out of the valley of extreme difficulties onto the mountain of achievements, the evidence abounds that much better times are at hand. For example, in this year, 2022, the economy will grow by a commendable 5%. Next year, 2023, further economic growth is projected at 6%. And in 2024, economic growth of 4.8% is forecast. Only the downside risks associated with the vagaries of nature and global turmoil, combined with our own self-inflicted follies of crime, violence, senseless disunity, and manufactured confusion by aberrant individuals and fellow travelers, only those things will be realized. Our material well-being is on the mend. We are slated to return by next year to a gross domestic product of 2019, a condition from which we descended by way of a major economic contraction in 2020, the first COVID year, followed by the disasters, volcanic and hurricane of 2021. We thank Almighty God for His mercies of restoration, of rebuilding, and of repairing. Before our very eyes, advances are being made in vital areas such as agriculture and fisheries, hotel development, manufacturing, the construction of a modern port, urban development, sea defenses and river defenses, school rehabilitation and construction, the building of a modern hospital, the rehabilitation of airports, housing and community amenities, roads and bridges, renewable energy, telecommunications and water, climate change adaptation and mitigation, disaster preparedness, the creative arts and entertainment, sports and recreation, the strengthening of democracy, good governance, the judicial system and citizen security, the fortifying of regional integration, and the expansion of foreign relations and foreign trade in goods and services. Over the next 3 years, hugely significant capital investments by the public, private, and cooperative sectors will occur in continuance of economic transformation, job and wealth creation, and an even more equitable distribution of economic rewards. At the same time, the social safety nets for the poor, the indigent, the vulnerable, and the aged are being broadened and strengthened most assuredly. Amidst economic growth and transformation, we must continue to act prudently and responsibly. It is to be expected that we will immediately consume reasonably a portion of any increased bounty. But some of it we must put aside for the proverbial rainy day, and much of it we ought to invest so as to enhance further economic development, inclusive of labor and management productivity. We must never ignore or downplay our economy's weaknesses and limitations as we seek to maximize its strengths and possibilities. As we go forward, we note enhanced benefits and material improvements immediate and prospective. These immediate and prospective, some I will refer to here: the agreement with the public sector unions for a salary increase of 7% distributed over the next 3 years, 2023 to 2025 inclusive. A reduction in personal income taxes, first by increasing the income threshold from $20,000 to $22,000 annually, below which no income taxes are to be paid, and also a reduction in the top rate of income and corporate tax from 30% to 28%. The establishment of the wages councils to review minimum wages. Wage increases arising from this process will commence from 2023. And right at the moment, continuing to the end of the year, the income support for 5,400 families from across this country who receive monthly benefits by way of the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Bank Card. Our 2023 budget will address a possible further extension of these benefits. And today, I announce formally other enhancements, supports, and initiatives in many different areas. There are 14 of them. As of January the 1st, 2023, the YES volunteers will receive an increase on their stipend of an additional $150 monthly. So too the mobilizers and coordinators in the YES program. This increase will cost the Treasury in excess of $1 million annually. The moratorium has been put in place in respect of the payment by dialysis patients at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center, Georgetown, for the 4-month period, September the 1st to December the 31st, 2022. There are currently 47 patients on dialysis at the MMDC. This free dialysis treatment will cost the revenue for the 4-month period $250,000 in consumables alone. Consideration is being favorably given to extending this moratorium into 2023. We cannot, and I want to make it plain, we cannot allow our brothers and sisters to suffer without any relief or to die on account of the fact that they cannot afford dialysis treatment. I believe and our government believes in all the principles laid out in the 3rd section of chapter 25 of the book of Matthew. And we heard the Lord Bishop Friday this morning referred to the necessity and desirability for compassion and caring. This is compassion and caring. We are increasing significantly the number of national scholarships, national exhibitions, special awards and bursaries awarded on the basis of the CAPE and associate degrees, the results for 2022. They're increasing from 62 last year to 73 this year. Of these, the number of national scholarships themselves, fully funded 5-year university scholarships. This number has tripled from 7 last year to 21 this year. All of these scholarships, awards, and bursaries, they will cost the Treasury close to $20 million. These awards are in addition to the 940 tuition scholarships recently granted by our government and the several dozens of other new university scholarships, grants, and economic disadvantaged student loans for university students. We are investing mightily in our young people. We urge them to soar with their wings unclipped. We teach them that although they are better than no one is better than them. They are the treasured children of our Caribbean civilization. They will always have our abundant support. Imminently, I say to the farmers, there will be arriving very shortly, imminently, 40,000 sacks of urea for distribution to the farmers. A gift from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. We thank Venezuela very much for this tremendous gift. Right as I'm speaking, there is a delivery of some 15,000 barrels of oil, over 500,000 imperial gallons, being delivered at Lomans at the storage facility under the Petro-Carib agreement. And I'm having discussions on Friday with the local Petro-Carib company and Vinlec to make sure that as a result of the delivery of the fuel, we will shortly see a significant reduction on the electricity bill to consumers. We are continuing immediately the housing repair and housing construction program for persons affected primarily by the volcanic eruptions last year. In all, some 1,400 homeowners will benefit. A recent visit by ministers and officials to Guyana was connected to this housing program. I know some of you who are not affected by the volcano directly have your housing problems. But bear with me while I sort out those who are hampered devastatingly by the volcano. And in the other areas, those who are in extreme need will get help. And the others, just bear with me a little. Our government will all sort it out as we always do. I promise you that sincerely today. Next year, we will be pursuing a carefully calibrated pension reform, including a periodic review of the national insurance services, which is likely to lead to an increase in benefits for retirees. And ongoing, we are rolling out specific programs to support ever more the farmers, the fishers, the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs, special programs exist for all of them, including programs touching and concerning women. And as of Monday, 31st of October, gasoline at the pump will be reduced by $2.10 per gallon. And diesel by $1 per gallon. By Christmas this year, an aggregate payment will be made of over $1 million to persons who volunteered at the various shelters during the time of the volcanic eruption. This practical way of saying thank you is long overdue. A verification of the correspondence of the names with their identification cards is being finalized. Further, we are having continued support in the form of subsidies or tax waivers for a range of commodities, including brown sugar, flour, fertilizer, and cement. On November the 14th, Monday, November the 14th this year, the duty-free concessions on Christmas barrels will start. And yesterday, the Cabinet reconfirmed an instruction to the officials in the Ministry of Finance to finalize with the nurse midwives and a special allowance for them to be paid from January 1st, 2023. They deserve it. Similarly to suitable arrangements for transportation for nurses are being worked out with urgency. And by the middle of November, I want to have a meeting with nurses and other persons in the Ministry of Health, because I want to make sure that something more is done for the persons who are working in the health sector. You have served us very well during COVID and after, and we have to be grateful to you beyond what all other public servants may get. These initiatives and more reflect the truism that in our small nation, we are all in this enterprise of life, living and production together. It was an American President, Theodore Roosevelt, who in 1901 addressed aptly this home truth at a time of great challenge. He said, quote, and I adopt these words, "The fundamental rule in our national life, the rule which underlies all others, is that on the whole and in the long run, we shall go up or down together. There are exceptions, and in times of prosperity, some will prosper far more, and in times of adversity, some will suffer far more than others. But speaking generally, a period of good times means that all share more or less in them. And in a period of hard times, all feel the stress to a greater or lesser degree. But I will make sure, and the government will make sure, that those who have been enduring the hard times over the last 2.5 years will benefit more than others. I promise you that solemnly. Fellow Vincentians, in every civilization, including our own, beyond the economic order and the formal institutions of state and society, there is a fluid space in the people's consciousness, awash with possibilities beyond the ordinary, the regular, the normal, the usual. In this fluid space from which the genius of our people manifests itself and flourishes, it is this existential spirit and yearning from which we must draw individually and collectively in our embrace of fresh hope, in our repair. It is that which encompasses a social individualism and solidarity, beyond an atomized individualism of dog-eat-dog selfishness or disregard of the society's well-being as a whole. The genius of our people prompts the recognition that we are all on the dangerous metaphoric road to Jericho. We have to look out for one another. We cannot be like the priest, the Levite, or the lawyer, who uncaringly passes the wounded and the robbed. We must be like the Good Samaritan, who helps to the best of his or her ability. This fluid space of the people's genius contains upliftingly and instinctive social solidarity and critical thought. That space too possesses debilitating backward instincts and uncritical thinking wedded to pristine individualism and empty rationalization to fit preconceived prejudices. Which of these instincts will prevail? The worse or the better? We will always strive for the better, not the better. In our embracing of freshhood, in our repairing, in our recovery and building back stronger and better, we must draw out from our people's genius new and more productive attitudes to work, study, production, management, and leadership. Like an ever-present noise in our blood and echo in our bones, there must be the full recognition of the truth that no society, no civilization has ever progressed on the basis of laziness, pleasure, leisure, and nice time. On the other hand, we must always extol hard and smart work at all levels, from the ground floor up to top managerial posts, in communion and interaction with each other and nature, and by the application of the best or most appropriate technology. In this better way, we lay the basic foundation for the material advancement of the society. Fellow Vincentians, we know the truism that men and women cannot live by bread alone. The leaders in our churches teach us this sensibly and well, and points us to the divine redeeming grace. In our temporal world, we must embrace similarly an uplifting national spirit of confidence in who and what we are, and the requisite of the vital importance indeed of symbols in national life. I will continue to affirm unequivocally that although we are not better than anyone, nobody else anywhere is better than us. Assuredly, we must value the highest office of this land, that of citizenship. Not in any narrow parochial manner, but in a highly esteemed way. We must not fall prey to the temptation of selling our citizenship as though the citizenship is like potato, Edos, or jackfish. We must not sell it. If we do so, we will destroy our existential soul in the process. Similarly, our passport, the treasured symbol of the inward grace of our citizenship, is not for sale by this government. And we will never hang out a for sale sign in any window at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in respect of any aspect of our patrimony. New hegemons are on the horizon to tempt us with shadows and mirages inimical to our interests. We cannot rail against the evil of neocolonialism and imperialism, only to open the door for newer hegemons. Meanwhile, at this time of despair, we encourage and celebrate the achievements of hundreds, thousands of our people, especially the young, at work, in academics, in sports, culture, business, and other productive enterprises. The genius of our people continues to flourish. At this time of prosperity, of the embrace of fresh hope, we will address, and you will get announcements on this shortly, we'll address in an urgent and focused manner the naming of the recommended national heroes by the constitutional body set up so to do. The creation of a system of locally shaped national honors and the appropriate renaming of several public spaces which continue to carry outmoded, completely irrelevant and even debasing colonial names. The time and season have come for all this. For example, where we are here at Victoria Park, the name comes from the British monarch, Queen Victoria. She never set foot in St. Vincent, yet we have a big park named after her here, Central Park. We should consider whether we should rename it and call it after one or more persons who have distinguished themselves here, like Rudy Boucher in football, like Frank Mason in cricket, or Alfie Roberts also in cricket. And we must replicate this across the country. The time and season have come for all this. The government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines are now at a time of despair and embrace a fresh hope after a period of immense difficulties for our nation. This fresh hope is conjoined with an abiding faith, made manifest in works and an unbreakable love for our country. A love that looks on tempest and is never shaken. Assuredly, the following will see us to victory: our resilience, our existential spirit to triumph over seemingly impossible odds, our hard and smart works, our strength of commitment to bedrock values of upliftment, visionary and experienced leadership, and our reaffirmation that this nation is founded on the belief in the supremacy of God and the freedom and dignity of man and woman. Morning by morning, new mercies we see. Great is His faithfulness. Those of us who are wise leaders, wise elders, with commendable track records of achievement, will continue to work in close tandem with those of the younger generations, oftentimes to lead and to guide, but always to learn from them, so as together to lift SVG higher, particularly at this time of despair, of this time of fresh hope. Fellow Vincentians, be advised. Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. Happy Independence Day 2022, St. Vincent and Grenadines. Long live the magnificent people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Caribbean. Thank you very much. And if you may permit me, I recently wrote a book. It was published and we launched it in New York City last month. It's called A Time of Despair, Beyond COVID, the Volcanic Eruptions, Hurricane Elsa, and Global Turmoil. Fresh Hope for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I would like to say to you that in this contains the ideas of the leadership of my government as to how we proceed. I'd like to take this opportunity to give a copy of this to Her Excellency the Governor General, Your Excellency.
Please hold, please hold.
Thank you very much. I want you to know always that I love you in a manner which is difficult to describe. It is an ever-fixed man that looks on tempests and is never shaken. And I recommit and rededicated my life of service to you. Thank you, and may God bless all of us.
Namely, the reduction in the gas prices. I think that particular portion triggered a particular response from the audience. So we just witnessed the final salute here at the Victoria Park. For those who are listening by way of radio, you just heard the conclusion of the national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And from here forward, we wrap up the parade, at least at the Victoria Park. And what a morning it has been. Brilliant sunshine, every now and then breeze blowing across the ground as we witness the departure of Her Excellency, the Governor General, followed by the Prime Minister. And our team in the back preparing to have our road video sorted for us so we can continue with our coverage. And we now have the preparation for the separation of the bands, just as they arrived.
We also just saw the parade commander handing back over the parade to the parade adjutant.
That's Lieutenant.
He's making preparation to go uptown for the uptown salute.
So the adjutant takes that part.
Takes the guard up to meet him.
And the adjutant also brought them down to the park, right?
Yes.
Brought them down to the park and handed over the parade to him.
Right.
So it's the reverse now. Right, so the adjutant will take the parade uptown, where we'll have the final salute. I think that takes place just outside of the financial complex.
Yes. And after that, we'll have the dismissal. And I'm sure those on parade will, as much as they're enjoying every moment of this experience, will also be looking forward to when they could, stand at ease and then when they're dismissed later on. So we witness now the movement of the band, the joint band of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force and the Cadet Force. And they are now moving forward on the parade ground. And momentarily we'll see that split being done as the adjutant takes over the parade. Heading out of the Victoria Park, you can safely say in reverse order.
Yes.
So when they came down earlier, just after 7 this morning, about 7:26 thereabout, when the parade left just in front of the headquarters, police headquarters in Kingstown. And once again, we say welcome to all of you viewing, listening across the radio platforms. We have the National Broadcasting Corporation, we have Star Radio, we have the Nice Radio joining us locally, maybe a few other stations joining in as well that we're not aware of, taking our broadcast this morning. And online, we're across the platforms of the National Broadcasting Corporation, VC3 Television, and the Agency for Public Information, all viewing live this morning. And we appreciate the feedback, we appreciate the comments that we're getting from you. Keep leaving those comments. We recognize you. Too many to mention. There are thousands literally looking at our live stream now. Not possible for us to make mention of individuals, but we're glad that you certainly took the time out to be a part of what we're doing here today.
And Colville, we certainly saw a good display of national pride here at Victoria Park, both in the turnout of citizens filling the stands and the compound in general, and an excellent display by the troops on parade, both the armed guards as well as the unarmed guards.
Yes. And as a side note, as we're in independence mode as well, there'll be additional activities, not just locally, but in the wider world. I know, for instance, the flag raising ceremony will be taking place in New York later today. And of course, you can check out the various platforms for links to access that event live. That's from 1:30 this afternoon in New York, as we see the parade moving out of the Victoria Park.
Yes. Again, led by the number 1 guard, so they will depart the same way that they came in the same order.
Yeah, point to note, the uptown salute will be taken by the Honorable Prime Minister,
Yes.
Dr. Rsvgpf, just in front of the financial complex, as we stated earlier.
And again, the number 1 guard is under the command of Assistant Superintendent Parnell Brown and 2IC or the Subaltern Inspector Julian Nero. The number 2 guard, which is an all-female police guard, is under the command of Assistant Superintendent Juliana Charles, and the Subaltern is Acting Inspector Malan Coffey. The number 3 guard, which we see preparing to leave the park, is under the command of Assistant Superintendent Foster Scott, and the Subaltern is Acting Inspector Maxian Richardson.
Guard number 4, the Coast Guard, under the command of Lieutenant Vincent John, with the Subaltern Sub-Lieutenant Donald Harry, closely followed by Guard number 5, the Auxiliary Police, under the command of Acting Lieutenant Reuben Johnson, Subaltern Acting Second Lieutenant Theophilus Franklin.
Then we have this number 6 guard, which is a contingent of cadets under the command of Acting Second Lieutenant Javed Solian, the Subaltern Second Lieutenant Jamari John, acting. Also number 7 guard, under the command of Acting Second Lieutenant Alex David, and 2IC is Acting Second Lieutenant Jared Cato.
And also we saw the color party, which consists of the national flag and the cadet force colors, and that is under the leadership of Lieutenant Alton McPherson and other members of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Cadet Force as part of the color party.
And just to note as well, for those who missed it earlier, what we're seeing from the cadet band, a difference in appearance. Maybe you'd want to mention it once more, why we're seeing this difference in appearance in the cadet band.
Okay, so we are enhancing the band, and that came with the support from a team of ex-cadet led by the Leacock family, the contribution of accessories for the band, breastplate, wings, and other items.
And as they march past the cameras, you will get a very close-up view of that. We're now seeing the guides falling into line in distance, closely followed by the band. And you'll get to see exactly what Major is talking about shortly as they go past the cameras just outside of the studios of VC3 Television. And a bit of a sense of relief that they're moving again and enjoying the parade all the way uptown for the final portion of the proceedings. So now we're getting a better view of what was just described by Major Ferdinand.
Remember, we have the unarmed guards, and lots of enjoyment will be experienced by the youngsters going up there.
Indeed.
Particularly the scouts and the Girl Guides and Girls Brigade, etc. And very importantly, not only those troops on parade will be marching. There are others who will join in, like the Brownies and Cub Scout, etc. Because they too are very much a part of it, even though they are not on the parade ground. They will line up on the outside and they will have their fun going uptown.
And we see the little ones.
Yes.
We anticipated them joining in at the end, and they were sitting there very patiently, for the most part, awaiting their turn to be, on parade, like the guides and the scouts that went before. Of course, some of these are also guides that weren't necessarily part of the on the field parade, but they'll be part of the uptown, which is considerably shorter, much shorter, as a matter of fact. And a number of reasons.
And more enjoyable.
More enjoyable because you have patrons lining the streets, you have the parents cheering on as their little ones pass by. So the experience is certainly one to savor.
Right. And I don't take this aspect for granted at all. This is the future.
Yes.
And when you inculcate that discipline in those young ones,
yes,
you will have great parades in the future.
So those little ones
great
you're seeing
citizens.
You
to
may
take
eventually
and the Grenadines forward.
Yes, you may eventually see them in the guides, another
Yes,
uniformed
yes.
organization, the Brownies, and then later on you may just see them in the other uniformed organizations, even as armed guards.
Definitely.
So it's a training ground, and I think once the interest is there and you bring that to them at an early stage, it sort of grows on them over a period of time. We have our eye in the sky, as we like to call it, courtesy VC3 Television, looking at the parade moving up the streets. And a beautiful morning it is here in capital city Kingstown, and weather has certainly allowed for a wonderful parade this morning. The sun was there, but it wasn't that intense from what we observed. We had a little peek outside in terms of how the troops are holding up, and no doubt moving will assist in remaining alert and staying focused for the duration of the parade.
And I think the parade flowed very well, the timing and so on, from beginning to the end. It was very timely, and I think the troops would appreciate that very much. Having been out from some of them as early as 5 o'clock,
Yes,
on
or
the
even
road,
earlier.
getting here, or even earlier. And so, everything flowed very well this morning, and the turnout and the drills were very good.
Indeed. And for those who are looking at the video, they'll be able to see where the parade is at. But for the benefit of those who are listening, the parade is now heading up Bay Street, just in the location of the Kingstown Methodist Church. In front of the parade is just in the vicinity of the Kingstown Methodist Church, moving up to the next stop. And they'll get there rather quickly, because we know
Yes.
how quickly they got down this
Right.
morning. And we'll follow them as much as possible. We may have some eyes on the ground as well, hopefully at some point, to see what's happening on the ground. But we can give you an idea via our drone shot of where the parade is, moving up just past the Kingstown Methodist Church at this time, and heading in the direction of the financial complex, just in front of the financial complex. And momentarily, now we're seeing the front of the parade, just at the Banfield service station, heading up in that general vicinity. And we try to keep those eyes there for you. But it has been quite a morning for parade, and the precision was certainly shown by the armed and unarmed guards here
Yes,
this morning.
Definitely.
And the point to note, those persons who have dropped out of the parade for one reason or the other, you can bet your last dollar that they are there enjoying themselves, going up. They have some of them, they needed some water to drink. Some of them needed to take a breather from the tension of the parade, and they are there now having the last moment of glory, as they would like to say.
Yes.
And we know that we'll have many parents and friends walking along with them, and many of them would be just about the area where they will do the final salute.
Yes.
And around the police station where they will do the dismissal.
So just a slight correction. I think earlier I said that they were moving up Bay Street. This is actually Grenville Street. And the final stop will be on Bay Street,
Bay
in
Street,
front of
yes.
the financial complex. So yes, for those thinking this is not, yes, Grenville Street is where the parade went uptown. Generally, this is direction we'll have traffic flowing both ways.
Right.
But in the case of the marching traffic this morning, it's just one direction. And I think we're looking at the front of the parade here, trying to get a sense of direction.
Yes, looks.
Yes, that's the front of the parade here. And trying to pinpoint the location where they're at now from the air. I believe the buildings will give a bit of a guide. But yes, we do welcome you wherever you are. I think they're passing just in front of the
Post office.
courthouse area. No? All right. So when we have a different angle,
the
we'll be able
courthouse
to.
generally.
Yes.
Heading in the direction of the flow building.
Yes.
And they're moving very quickly.
Yes, they are. They are. And just trying to get a sense of direction here. And of course, we continue to bring you coverage across the platforms. We welcome you, even though you're coming to the end of the proceedings. We're following the parade all the way uptown. And momentarily, we'll have the wrapping up of the parade on the streets of Kingstown. As we get a view on the streets at this time, or roving camera on the streets traveling with the band. And they're enjoying themselves, I can tell you that. They're enjoying every moment of it.
National Commercial Bank.
Yes, just in front, approaching the courthouse area. That's where the band is at the moment.
That's where the band is.
That's where the band is, yes. And of course, the market in view here now from above. And they're moving quickly, I must add that. They're moving rather quickly up to the final point for dismissal. And we go back to the Prime Minister's presentation earlier. He expressed quite a appreciation for the display he saw earlier from the police. A splendid display was described as. And this was, of course, done by the uniformed organization. If you're tuning in now, you missed all of that, and you'll have to go and look at this video after. But you certainly missed something special earlier on. And the Prime Minister also outlined that as a people we remain resolute across our lands and seas, despite the challenges that we faced last year, this year, in particular, 2020, 2021, and for the earlier part of this year, particularly with the COVID-19 pandemic and the eruptions. And of course, we want to let you know that the address by the Prime Minister will be repeated across the platforms on NBC Radio later on today at about 2 o'clock, and then again this evening at about 7:30, and on VC3 television at 8 tonight. So be sure to view that in case you missed it. We see now the armed guards, one section of the armed guard. I believe that is guard number 3.
It's the SSU, guard number 3.
3, and you notice that they are doing different rifle drill movements as they go on the street doing their final display. They would do port arms, change arms, trail arms, and other movements to show off their skills that they may not have gotten the chance to show in the park.
And we're grateful for our entire team in realizing this production today. No doubt a team effort. We're just the persons here linking everything together, but the guys who are in the master control area and those who are taking in the heat as well, standing in behind the cameras for the duration of the parade and following the parade on the streets. And of course the drone pilot, Rohan Zoro Bennett, who's been giving us some excellent shots all morning.
Right. So the parade is in general in the area of Halifax Street.
Yes.
Heading towards James Street, I believe they will be going down, turning right when they reach at Forester's Corner, turning right into James Street and back onto Bay Street and make their final uptown salute in front of the financial complex.
Right, so we see the front of the parade inching closer and closer to that turn, which they'll do in a minute or two from now. They're going at quick time, aren't they?
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah, at quick time they will get there very quickly, right?
So they're passing right in front of the post office. That's the number
SVG post, yes, there.
one guard,
number one guard.
passing the post office, closely followed by the number 2 guard.
All female.
And I can see that they're enjoying themselves on the road. I believe the music, I'm not sure if we're able to get the audio from the streets, but from the way that they're parading on the streets, it's evident that the music is sweet.
Definitely.
And they're enjoying. We saw a few of the band members taking the opportunity to enjoy themselves while they play their instruments as well. And that's something you only see around parade time. Generally, police officers, and we have a former police officer on the panel can say that generally it's very formal.
And just to mention, the spirit of independence, all local things.
Excellent. Yeah, the band is passing by our location now, so we enjoy a bit of the band music as they pass by the camera. And you also see the smiles because those in the back are a bit more formal. The band is letting loose a bit.
Relax, yes.
And you see the Coast Guard contingent smiling because they're seeing all the movements in
Now
front.
we have the colors.
Oops. I think we just got in the way there briefly of the parade. But yes, good to have this view. And we now have the cadets moving up to our camera location. And a very tall figure at the front there.
Yes.
And I think we've seen him before at a function at the Prime Minister, the Governor General's residence.
Yes.
Government House. We had
He's our tallest member, you
tallest
can't miss him.
member. They can't mistake him at all. The Marine unit on land today.
Yes.
And the prisons, His Majesty's prisons. We're so accustomed to saying Her Majesty's prisons. Getting used to the new reference. But I realize that there's a bit of a spacing, a very
Yes.
wide spacing between the different troops.
So we now have the unarmed guards.
And while we're at it, we're enjoying a bit of the music in the distance from the band. As the band approaches the cameras, get a better idea of the music. And as it gets further away, we'll of course lose our feed, audio feed in the distance as it fades away. You see the pathfinders approaching our underground location just outside of the SVG Post building. I think I got by my sense of direction now. Just outside of the SVG Post building. And the buildings are generally the markers that will tell you where exactly
The nurses.
we're looking at. The nurses, yes. And we must also mention the Red Cross who were here this morning, making sure that everyone was A-OK. Sometimes we
Yes.
tend to forget them because
True.
they're not, but they're very,
Yes.
very, very important in the process in assisting those who succumb to the sun.
Yes, over the years
humidity.
they have been providing quite valuable service.
Indeed. And we certainly cannot discount their contribution to this very important occasion every year. Every year we can expect them to be on call to assist.
Right, and this is where we see the youngsters who are not actually on the parade ground.
So I think another turn.
Using the opportunity to display whatsoever skills they have.
So the front of the parade is now moving down to just outside of the Geese terminal, the entrance to the Geese terminal, and of course that is where the big Vinci Expo is taking place and continue to take place until tomorrow. So another display of Vincentian creativity there while they pass by that location just in front of the Geese terminal location. Moving closer and closer to the financial complex. And we see most of the parade already on Bay Street. Some of them now making that turn to come onto Bay Street. And momentarily we'll have them doing their formation just in front of the financial complex. What is the significance of this, though, Jackson? Is it just sort of like a finality of the parade?
Yes, it's an uptown salute where the Prime Minister will take the salute, the parade commander and the Prime Minister. Remember, the Governor General has already departed.
Right.
We will not see the Governor General for those of us who are not going at the drink up, the final celebration.
Okay.
But the Prime Minister is still on parade at this moment, so he will take the final salute.
And then
just before the dismissal.
Right. From there, it's on to Central Police Station for the dismissal.
Yes, in front of the fire brigade area there.
And that process normally takes how long?
Not too long. Not too long. That just take a few minutes.
Yes.
Because we are really concluded. Just to march to the street and then you dismiss.
Yeah, and say thanks to the troops
Yes.
for all of their hard work
Excellent.
and commitment and displays.
And as our camera, the eye in the sky, like I say, takes a zoomed out position, we have a broader view of capital city Kingstown on Independence Day, and we extend happy independence to Vincentians at home and abroad on this very important occasion. 1979, we gained our political independence, and today we're celebrating 43 years of that occasion. And a zoomed out view of capital city Kingstown for the benefit of those viewing, on the right of your screen you'll be seeing the development that is being undertaken in Kingstown shortly. That's where the new modern port will be constructed. We're back on your screens now. We welcome you again to our coverage as we get ready to close things off, and I believe we'll be also getting some visuals of on the streets. We have a visual on the streets now, and in that general vicinity we'll have the preparation for the final portion where the Prime Minister will receive.
So what you will witness there for the uptown salute is as the troops pass by in front of the financial complex, the Prime Minister will be there, the parade commander will be there, and the guard commanders will give an eyes left, paying tribute to the Prime Minister.
I don't think I've been able to witness this part in person for the most part, because generally I'm here or getting ready to leave here at the Victoria Park, but it's good that we're able to show those who are viewing the visuals from the street. I see that's a police band in the distance.
Yes.
Coming towards our camera location there. And as mentioned, you have Vincentians of all walks of life gathering along the streets. Some parents, some teachers in between as well. Looking at the younger ones who are enjoying their moment on the streets in this parade today. I believe we'll get the audio of the band as it passes by. Coast Guard, some nodding their heads with the music as they march by the camera. A proud moment for Major Ferdinand and seeing her
Colors, yes.
colors on parade this morning. And certainly a proud moment for us as Vincentians to see our uniformed organizations in such display, showcasing our pride as a Vincentian people on the occasion of our 43rd independence. The armed guards, or the cadets, immediately followed by, oh, quite an interesting display there.
Yes.
Tell me about that display.
They are just doing some foot movements and then drills with the weapons. Chain step. They just do the chain step.
Chain step.
Yes.
I was looking for the name of that one. Don't think
Yes,
I've
it's a
seen that
chain
one in
step.
practice.
Yeah, you will see that foot movement if you're changing step, change step, or if you are marching in quick time and you're going to break into slow time. That's the same movement that you will see. Right? So it's a chain step kind of movement. Yeah.
Chain step. I'll have to
Yes.
remember that one going
Chain
forward.
So if somebody's out of step and they want to get into the right step, they would do that.
They will
sort
do
of
that
thing.
individually.
Individually,
Yes.
but it's to have it done as a...
Right.
Yes, as a
So,
group.
so the whole
That's to the effect, really.
yeah, they'll just change the step.
Oh, there you go. So I think one of them just did that to fall back into line.
Yes, to
Right.
And these are the prison officers of His Majesty's prisons. And the crowd is gathered along the roadside, just outside of the market. This is where the dismissal will take
Yes.
place. And a few minutes from now, all the preparation, all of, everything that they've been preparing for the last few weeks will culminate with their dismissal, and then they can be on their merry way back to their respective locations and enjoy the rest of our Independence Day. It's a national holiday, of course, as it is our 43rd anniversary of Independence Day. Activities happening across the country. I mentioned the Madongo Festival that's also happening today, later on today. This, of course, is part of who we are, the Madongo.
Yes.
And if you've never tried it, maybe it is your opportunity to do so today. Have some local food today. Have some red food today.
Also, Mr. Harry may not want to say, but many persons will be joining to South Rivers at River 14.
Well, that's another
Just to do
activity.
their goat cooks.
Of course.
Yes.
And across the country, on the windward and the leeward side, the Grenadines, there might be some taking a sail down to the Grenadines today. Beautiful sailing weather, by the way.
So are you going across to River 14?
No, not today. Maybe on another occasion.
Well, I should have been going there, but after this,
Well, you just told the whole world. where
just
you're
want to
going.
relax, right?
But yes, we say thanks to you wherever you are as we get ready for our final few moments. In a minute or two from now, we'll see the dismissal of those who are on parade this morning. Again, we say thanks to all of those who took the time out to follow us live this morning. We really appreciate your company today during the course of this broadcast. Started just after 7 o'clock and continued through until now. It's just about 9 minutes after 10. And in a while from now, we'll see the rear end of that parade coming to a stop just in front of the Central Police Station, the fire area along that street, and take their final dismissal.
Yes. And there you have the parade adjutant.
Is it that you have to wait for all of the different
Yes.
guards to come down?
Yes, making sure that everybody is in place, just like when you started.
So it's directly in reverse order.
Yes.
All right. So I think each of the individual guard commanders are looking intently in the direction of the arriving guards, those who are bringing up the rear of the parade to ensure that, I think that's the last part we're seeing there, the brownies at the very end of the parade, directly in front of the sentry at the Central Police Station.
And the parade adjutant would actually fall out the officers before dismissing the others.
Okay. So we're getting ready to wrap things up, and as we do so, we of course would like to express thanks to all of those involved in the process of making this event a reality. First of all, the planning committee and the police officers, those involved in participating in this event today in some form or fashion. Kudos to them for a well-executed event, an incident-free event, and also for the production team for this broadcast. We cannot neglect the production team for this broadcast, taken from all three entities: the Agency for Public Information, the National Broadcasting Corporation, of course, VC3 Television, whose studios we're using to facilitate this broadcast this morning, to the entire production team, those on the vision mixing, and if I start calling names, maybe I'll forget a few persons. So, of course, those who are integrally involved in the production of this, we say thanks to you as well. And those who are viewing, we would like to say thanks to you for sticking with us along the way as we enjoy the final few moments of the visuals. Thanks very much to our team here at VC3 Studios. Thanks very much, retired Superintendent of Police, Elton Jackson.
Thanks very much. It has been a pleasure.
Yes, and he's enjoying his retirement now. And thanks for joining us this morning. And of course, we know how's Dr. Idilia Ferdinand on this occasion. Major Idilia Ferdinand, thanks very much for your input this morning.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Yes, and thanks to all of those at Master Control, at NBC, and at the various stations, Nice Radio, Star Radio, thanks very much for being a part of our broadcast. I was wishing you a happy independence from all of us here at the various entities. Hope that you enjoy and you have some local food today. Stay with us. Have a good one.